Customs and Border Protection shutting down the Lukeville, Arizona border crossing today to reassign the officers there to help agents deal with the surge of illegal migrant crossings elsewhere. This after the Customs and Border Patrol limited traffic there last week. The Tucson sector's Border Patrol chief posted this on X. Over 17,000 migrants were apprehended within the last week. This is the worst week we've ever seen at the border for Tucson. Joining me right now is former acting DHS Secretary and Executive Director at the America First Policy Institute, Chad Wolf. Chad, great to see you. You saw what the border chief just posted on X about Arizona. We were first focused on Texas, but the gotaways, apparently, the border sources tell me, go to Tucson first. And now we've got a real problem at the border crossing in Arizona. What can you tell us?
Well, you're exactly right, Maria. I think as we look at ground zero today is in Arizona for a lot of the illegal apprehensions and gotaways, as you mentioned. Now, this continues to shift. Sometimes it's South Texas, Arizona, and even sometimes the San Diego sector in California. The cartels continue to move things around. I think this is a significant development that the Biden administration is now closing ports of entry and restricting legitimate trade and travel because they have to reallocate resources to process more and more of these illegal aliens because of their failed strategy. Look, it's 33 months in the making, and they don't shift their strategy. They just continue to process more and more historic numbers of illegal aliens, and there's no disincentive. There's no programs or policies that they're putting in place to try to slow this flow. Instead, they just simply want to manage it and process it. And so it continues just to be a failed strategy. I don't understand it. I don't think the American people understand it. And they look at these numbers every month and they just shake their head and say, when is this administration going to wake up and start to do something about these numbers?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Now they want to stop Texas from trying to protect their citizens. Texas has been ground zero in this. The federal appeals court ordered Texas to remove the buoys, the barriers that were put there in July. They were put in the Rio Grande, which they thought would help deter illegal migrants from swimming across through the water. I spoke with Texas Governor Greg Abbott yesterday about this on Sunday Morning Futures in an exclusive. He says he's not backing down at all. Watch this.
The appeals court got it wrong, and the reason is because they relied upon a law more than 100 years old, saying that we could not deploy these buoys in the water, preventing people from entering the United States illegally, because the waterway is categorized as a navigable waterway, which is absurd because it is not navigable by definition when you have literally thousands of people able to walk across it every single day. It's not used for transportation of boats up and down that riverway, and we will be seeking what's called an en banc ruling by the entire Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. And if we lose there, we will be taking that to the United States Supreme Court because we know Texas has the right to legally deploy those buoys in the water to prevent people from entering our country and our state illegally.
And, you know, he also went on to say he's readying a new state law that will make it a criminal offense to cross into Texas illegally. He says he's going to come out with that in the coming weeks, Chad. Your reaction to all that's happening in Texas right now?
Well, I think the governor's right when he talks about the ruling and obviously the steps that he continues to take. Look, he's got to protect Texans in South Texas and across his state. And if the federal government won't do it, then he's having to step up and do things that historically a governor from the state of Texas has not had to do. But the Biden administration will continue to fight places like Texas and Arizona, California, and other governors around this country instead of partnering with them to figure out how do we make that border as secure as we can and protect U.S. citizens and Texans. This administration will go to court day after day after day and fight against what the governor is doing. It seems as though they care more about these illegal aliens than they do American citizens. And that's not their oath. That's not what they should be concerned about. It should be, how do we protect Americans and what's best for Americans at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean, the last memo that I saw about a week ago was Alejandro Mayorkas telling Border Patrol to make sure you call these migrants by their right names and don't use he, she, or they until you know what gender they are. I mean, this is what they're focused on.
It's remarkable. It's remarkable. And those Border Patrol agents, when they get that memo, they just shake their head and say, what is D.C. and our political leadership thinking? We have a very difficult and dangerous job to do, and they're more concerned about what type of pronouns we call these individuals.
Right.
When a lot of these individuals, the gotaways particularly, are attacking Border Patrol agents.
Unbelievable. Oklahoma Senator James Lankford is the top Republican negotiator for the border policy and Ukraine aid. He says an agreement could be reached in the next few weeks. Watch this.
We are making progress on this. This is exceptionally important. We can get this done by the end of the year. There's a reason that this hasn't been done in decades, because it's hard. It's very technical work, and there's a lot of challenges that are in it. And anytime you deal with border security, there are a lot of complicating features in this. But the most important thing is to be able to get this right. The American people, whether Republican, Democrat, or Independent, just want a secure border.
Yeah, and they want the policies changed. The Washington Examiner editorial board, meanwhile, writes this op-ed: the lion's share of the $14 billion that Biden has asked for on border security would be spent on processing immigrants into the country faster and bailing out Democrat-controlled cities who are going bankrupt by it, by this mass immigration. Republicans should not bail out Democrats for their policy mistakes, Chad. I don't know what kind of money we're talking about. My last guest in this subject said that they would accept money for a new border wall. But you know, if the administration gets more money targeted for the border, they're going to use that to create more housing for the migrants. So what are we talking about here?
Yeah, I think you're right, Maria. Look, I think it's important to remember that Congress gave DHS $1.5 billion last year to go towards the border, and nothing has gotten better, because they earmarked that money, as you indicated, for processing more and more illegal aliens. So, look, I applaud Senator Lankford. I hope he's right. I hope they can get to a deal. But there cannot be a deal without significant policy changes. And look, I understand that's hard for a lot of Democrats. But either you acknowledge that we have a serious problem and crisis along the border and you want to change it, and so you need policy changes, or you say that, hey, the status quo is okay, in which case you're against policy changes. So I think that's what Republicans need to put Democrats on the record. But you can't continue to throw money at this problem. We don't have a funding problem at the border. We have a policy problem that is restricting Border Patrol from doing their job.
Right. And this $106 billion supplemental package is going to be dominating Congress throughout year end. Chad, talk to us about what the policies ought to be at the border. I don't understand why this administration continues this wide open border, given what's coming into America. The drugs, the fentanyl, the terrorists. We see it every day.
Well, absolutely. Look, you've got to reinstate the Remain in Mexico or the migrant protection protocols. That will send a signal to the cartels and the smugglers. The administration, unfortunately, has been unwilling to do that. The asylum cooperative agreements. The heart of all of this entire crisis is our broken asylum system. And so if you don't tackle that, if Senator Lankford and his colleagues don't tackle that in this supplemental bill, then whatever money that you give DHS, again, is just going to go towards processing. So you've got to raise the credible fear standard. You've got to be able to detain individuals in order to remove individuals. And this administration's not doing any of that. So there's some very specific, as the senator said, very specific things that you can do to make some improvements. The question is whether the Democrats will go along with it.
Yep. All right, Chad, we'll be watching all of that. Thanks very much. Chad Wolf joining us today.
Thank you.